Good morning and welcome back to Other Worlds Wednesday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Alien, the role-playing game starter set from Free League Publishing. Now, if you are a child of the 80s, or 70s, or, somewhere in that Gen X-y kind of era, you are familiar with the Alien franchise. With the original movie Alien coming out in 1979, followed a few years later by Aliens, and then Alien 3 in the 90s, and and then it got weird. It got really weird. Anyways, it was kind of a big deal. It was a cool sci-fi franchise. And in fact, I actually even remember from the 90s, there was a role-playing game, but this one is brand new. It also incorporates some of the background from the movies that have been released in the 2000s as well. But in this particular review, I just want to focus on the starter set and what they actually include there. If you're familiar with any of my reviews on miniatures, you'll know that I love a good starter set. So, big question is, does this really meet that definition? We'll get into that. But before we do make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few different videos each week covering all sorts of topics from role-playing, miniatures, board games, card games. If you can roll dice or move stuff around, I like talking about it. So make sure you're subscribed and come along. Hopefully you'll find some more things interesting. Now, one disclaimer I do want to make before I get into this. Free League Publishing did provide me this copy for review. They do have a spot on their website where they ask people that have YouTube channels, things like that, to contact them if they are interested. And because I've been kind of exploring different options for role-playing games and things like that, I reached out, and I was not expecting to receive this, but they actually sent me the physical copy for this as well. They sent a bunch of PDFs, which very, very generous on their own, but to actually get physical product, that's kind of a big deal. I realize they write it off as an advertising expenditure, but still, I am very grateful to them for this. But I do hope that that I can still provide what I think is an honest review. Obviously, that's what I am striving for. But I do want to at least point it out, just in case that does affect how you look at these kinds of reviews. All right, so first thing we are going to do is we're going to take a look at the actual contents themselves, all right? So you get a basically standard-sized box. It'll fit, fairly well on, like I use a lot of Kallax around my house, so it'll fit on those shelves. Not a whole lot of images, as you can see. It's just plain black here on the back. Recommended number of players, things like that. So, fairly simple, but also if you are from that child of the Gen X kind of era, it's going to invoke the franchise. You've got your, spike tail from the Alien, what could be Ripley or another one of the Marines, standing in the doorway. Right away, they're capturing your attention. So well played on that regard. Now, I have opened this up because I have been actually reading it. So this is not just a pure unboxing, but it's more or less how you're going to find it when you open the package. All right, so then you've got two books. You've got the rule book. This is 104 pages. And to be honest with you, this is almost a full role-playing game in and of itself. I mean, it's a starter set, so obviously it's not as in-depth. The actual core rulebook for the full role-playing game comes in at about 400 pages. So it's 25% the size, but you're getting everything. I've got some notes in here that I'll look at when I actually go into the review of the content themselves, or content itself. So like right here, um, but overall, the funny thing is it's not even a lot of text, and I don't know why I'm focusing on it right now, but it really goes a long way to just evoking that Alien franchise. So it looks really good. It's a matte finish, which is a little annoying because for some reason it is grabbing all of the oil from my fingers and holding onto it like there's no tomorrow. So that was a little annoying, but I don't really consider that Free League's fault. It was a design choice, obviously, but it's honestly a nitpick. So you then get, I believe it's about 45 pages, 48 pages. And this is an adventure, Chariot of the Gods. So, actually, I'm gonna hold off, and I need to not be jumping ahead because of the ADHD squirrels. So, we'll get into it, I promise. All right, I haven't opened this yet, and there are some spoilers in it, so I'm not really gonna show you everything. But they do give you the deck of cards. Obviously, you can see there's two sets of dice. I will get into those in just a second. But they do give you these cards, which include these initiative trackers, 1 to 10. You also then have... oh, this is cool. Real quick, these, it's actually kind of cool. They recommend that you use these basically like I'm going to use it as a bad example, but it'll make sense. Essentially like a magic card. So when it's face up like this, means that no actions have been used. And then around the edge, which let me zoom in and focus. So as you rotate it, so if I rotate it to the left, it says I've used my fast action. If I rotate it to the right, my slow action. And if it's upside down, then I've used both actions. Basically, on every turn, you get a fast action and a slow action. So it's a nice... I actually really, really like this. It's a nice little initiative system. And then a nice way for players to be able to track what actions they have used in case they need to move, like, going between the players for different actions, things like that. You then get your different equipment, so that this is actually really cool because then you can hand this out to players. Okay, this is fantastic. We then got some NPC cards with a picture and basically a breakdown of their stats. I'll get into why this is actually a really, really good idea here in just a minute. Let's see. And then there are the agendas, and I'm not going to show those because, again, spoilers. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different NPC cards. So that is really cool as well. Nice linen finish. These are quality. I got no complaints with these. All right. The dice. There are two kinds of dice. These are going to be the regular dice, so they're just black and white. The 6 has your success mark. When you roll your dice, basically you just need to get one of these and then you succeed. If you get more of these, then you can actually cash them in for different bonuses on your roll. So it is a dice pool mechanic, and you're always looking for 6s. That's it. So the yellow dice are the stress dice. Now this is an interesting little twist because these, instead of just being marked on the 6 like they are on the regular dice, they're also marked as the 1. Now, during the game, your stress level is going to go up and down. and whenever you have to make a skill roll, you're going to include a number of dice equal to your stress value. So it's actually kind of interesting because it actually makes you better at doing something, but it also then adds this risk because if the 1 comes up, then you automatically fail, no chance for rerolls, things like that. So just an interesting little mechanic that I haven't seen before, but I like it. I think it's very, very interesting. Obviously, I have not played through the scenario yet, so I haven't been able to review that. This is literally just what are my thoughts on the set and the content that they provide. All right. They then give you 5 character sheets, which... Let me zoom out a little bit more. All right, so 5 character sheets. Basically, you get background information on one side, and then you get all of your stats and everything filled out on the other side. You can download and print these from Free League. I'm a little annoyed because this box is basically the exact same size. I was planning on laminating them. So that way, especially like with new players, or if we're just doing a one-shot, people can just take this and write directly on the character sheet with like a dry erase marker, but then they won't fit back in the box. So as of this moment, I am conflicted on what I am going to do exactly. All right, now this is one of the best pieces. So they do give you a bunch of tokens to be able to track, the different aliens, the different characters, different statuses. So they're just it's a bunch of tokens. Nothing too out of the normal on that, but we also get, as I move stuff around my infamously small work table. Now, this is not going to fit, like, straight up. But I will do my best to show it off. Basically, you get a map of the galaxy. So, right in the middle is Earth. Okay, right here. But then, basically it's the explored galaxy of the alien universe, which I've never seen before. So I think that's actually pretty cool. Obviously, you've got some very far-reaching, star systems. It does coordinate to the galactic map. So this is spinward, which I think it's like the direction the Milky Way galaxy is going. Because then we've got rimward and coreward. Okay, so coreward being towards the core of the solar system. So it is presented as a map from the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. If you are familiar with aliens at all, essentially they're the bad guys. Yeah, I said it. Fight me. Sorry. Come on, it's gaming with ADHD. I make horrible jokes. All right, on the backside of the star map, you're also going to get a floor plan map of your starship, or actually it is the starship from the adventure. We'll put it that way. I'm trying to avoid too many spoilers. I will have to talk about some, just as far as providing my review. But again, the maps are done. They do give you a scale. So approximately this square is 2 by 2 meters. So basically a 5-foot square in D&D. And they give you, they give you a map. They give you these dotted lines, which let me zoom in on these. So these are like airway passages, things like that. There are 4 decks in the floor plan. A little bit of a scale, so it's 130 meters long. But yeah, so it's good. The game does have I'm going to call it a loose map system. So it's not hard and fast like in Dungeons and Dragons, where you are in a 5-foot square and then you will adjust based on that particular 5-foot square. So it's more like areas as far as that reference goes. So overall, like from a production standpoint, I really have nothing to complain about this. Outside of, like I said, the matte finish grabs the oils in my hands, and it kind of looks like I've been reading this after eating French fries. I haven't eaten French fries in quite a while, so it's a little annoying, but it is what it is. All right, so now I do want to take a look at the rulebook. Now, I did flip over to the PDF as opposed to the physical book because I do want you to be able to see some of the stuff on the screen. So here on the cover, we've obviously got a human in a pressure suit and then the alien in the background. Now, as far as the rules, basically we get about 20 pages of just kind of background info for aliens and for the universe. And then it goes into... one thing I do want to point out. So they say when they're talking about the Game Master, that is actually the game mother. It's a little cheesy. I get it. But when you look at the movies and the fact that, like, the computer is called Mother... you've also got, like, the alien queen. I like those kinds of little Easter eggs. I don't think they're trying to make any kind of a political standpoint. I literally think they are just trying to pull more of that alien universe in. And I like when companies do that. It can sound a little cheesy to some people, but I'm actually fine with that. All right, then next thing. All right, so there are, like, right here we've got 2 mentions of cinematic play and campaign play. So cinematic play basically is what you're going to get with the starter set, and it actually says. This is a little different than the book that I have. This is kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting this. The rule book. Oh, I was on the wrong page. Ha! Here we go. All right. So cinematic play versus campaign play. Conflict between player characters is likely, and you are not all expected to survive. In fact, most of your PCs probably won't live to see the end of the scenario. The fact that they just put that straight out up front, you're gonna die, especially with things that have kind of happened in, RPG, Twitter and social media lately, talking about, player characters shouldn't die. No, they straight up tell you in this, you're gonna die, and I think that's fantastic. It goes back to that feeling of the movies. The original Alien, Ripley and Jonesy were the only ones that survived from the original movie. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry for spoiling a movie that's 40 years old. Get over it. As far as campaign play, it's obviously going to be a little less lethal, but again, it's designed for taking that character from story to story to story. So not a problem. So that I thought was an interesting point. Then another thing that's kind of small but not a big deal. when they talk about rolling dice. Rules sometimes ask you to roll d6, d3, 2d6, and d6. Basically, there's one type of dice in the game, 6-sided. That's it. But there's many different ways to do it. You can roll a d6 and just take the result. d3, take the result, divide by 2. 2d6, take the results and add together. d6, use one as the tens, roll 2d6, and keep one for the tens digit, one for the single digit. So they're not just limiting it to one type of die roll. So, and I don't even think it's that confusing. It's just, hey, here's some dice. We need you to do something with it. And depending on what the roll is, they come up with a unique use for it, as opposed to, oh, go grab this kind of dice or go grab that kind of dice. And especially with a starter set, they've got 2 different kinds of dice, but essentially they're 6-sided, and one just has a different symbol on the one, and that's it. So it's, I think it's good because it is making it very efficient. All right, they then get into what is a role-playing game. That was actually another thing I liked. Right here, at all times, ask yourself, what would my PC do, my player character do, and have them act accordingly. So they're telling you, don't think about what you are doing. You're playing another character. You're playing someone else. And while it is pretty common when people are just starting with role-playing games to, play as themselves, like early on until they kind of realize, oh, wait, I can do some different things. They're getting in and telling you, what to, or to try to think about being a different character. All right. Next, buddies and rivals. They're straight up putting some tension into the game right away. A player is going to have one buddy, so somebody they get along with, and a rival, somebody they don't get along with. So again, if you go back to the movies, there's always characters that kind of play off of each other, and either in good ways or bad ways. So again, they're number one, they're encouraging more role play, but they're also going back to the source material and bringing that in. So I do like that. Let's see. Skills are, like I said, it's a dice pool system. You're always looking for 6s. So one thing I did like about the game, or about the starter set, is, as I said, this is essentially a full game. The only difference is it doesn't really have instructions for advancing characters, but that's not the point of it. This is for cinematic play. Chances are that character's dead anyways, so they're not going to advance. But then, it's got a full bevy of skills, full bevy of things you can do, full breakdown of combat. Where is it? Damage. That's what I wanted to talk about. So dealing with damage, there's no like hit points like you have in Dungeons and Dragons, but actually I'm going to need to come back to stress and panic, but actually it's the hazards I wanted to talk about. So they have so many different conditions: starving, dehydrated, exhausted, vacuum. They deal with explosive decompression. So if you're on a ship and you're firing big guns, you might be breaching the hull, and what's going to happen. So they give you rules for that. They give you rules for freezing, falling, explosions, fire, disease, radiation, drowning, suffocation. Is your character an android? How are they going to react to those same kind of conditions that I just mentioned? They're giving you all of the information, and they are like, as you can see, as I've been going through, they're not even cramming it in. It's not tiny text. It's easy to read, things like that. So I really, really like the way that they presented this. All right, stress and panic. Basically, as you're trying to do things are failing. Things are, bad things are happening. Somebody dies, or you go through some of those stressors that we talked about. The stress level is going to go up, and you're going to add more of those yellow dice to the pool. If you fail, you can go into panic. So then it deals with how do you deal with the panic. I mean, again, the Alien movies are not, happy, fun space exploration. No, it's a suspense thriller. Are they going to make it out alive? They're bringing the movie back in. They're making sure that, yes, this is that, I don't want to call it horror, but it is a, it's stress, if you get too much, bad things are going to happen. You're going to panic. You're going to have, as it says right here, permanent mental trauma, depending on what happens during the panic roll. So again, overall, then we get into weapons, equipment. Obviously they've got, the, stuff straight out of the movies, the flamethrower, the machine guns, the whole 9 yards, loader suits. They literally, for 100 pages, they took, quote unquote, all of the best bits from the movies, and stuck it in. So yes, you're going to get more out of the core rulebook, but you're not losing out on anything from just the starter set. So 110% recommend this. Now, okay, so I'm not going to bring up the book for the adventure, because again, I don't want to spoil it, but I do want to talk about how they did it. So that's this book. It's green screen. Chariot of the Gods is the name of the adventure. Couple of things that I do like. Number one, the story is a great introduction to aliens. Why do I say that? Because the story is almost the same as the original Alien movie. Now, when I started reading that, I'm bringing that up because when I started reading, that was actually a criticism of mine. I didn't like that they were basically using the same story. Now they have changed it. It's not identical. They're not trying, I'll be honest. Not going to spoil it. I was going to spoil it. Not going to do that. But when I started thinking about it, so somebody my age has probably seen the original Alien. 10 years younger, 15, 20 years younger, probably hasn't. Maybe they've seen the new movies, Prometheus, there was some other Alien. I don't normally watch I haven't watched the new Aliens movies. I should, but anyways. But the point being, chances are younger players have not seen those old movies. And the original Alien definitely set up the world, set up that kind of tension, things like that. And so I think it's a good way to kind of tell that story to new players because they probably haven't seen it before. I also like the way that it was written. The adventure is not a railroad. Okay, it is broken up into 3 acts. And then basically each act, they give you mandatory events that you as the game master need to trigger. But for the most part, it's the players essentially going on a dungeon crawl. And as they're going through the ship, then the game master gets to decide. But it's up to the players to decide, well, are we going to go to the engine room? Are we going to go to the science laboratory? What are we going to do? And so it's, while there is a story, and it is kind of a one-shot adventure, so there's going to be a little bit of railroading, there's still a lot of allowing players to make a lot of choices here, which I think is fantastic. So the GM is not trying to tell their high-minded narrative, and the players aren't really being railroaded. Obviously, they are to a degree because it's a starter set. They're trying, give us the intro story. That's fine. But there's a lot that the players can do. And I really like that. If the GM doesn't want to include an encounter, that's fine. The mandatory ones are just there to make sure that those clues are planted to advance the story in the later chapters. So overall, I will admit, I really like this set. It in my general review status of, or not review status, but review results of, does this product make me a little bit more excited about it? And I have to say, just off of this starter set, I would like to play a game of Alien. I'd like to get my friends that are my age, that have all seen those movies, and see what we can do. It's a fun product. It's loyal to the source material, and I think it definitely hits it out of the park. Let me see, because I probably should have pulled this up ahead of time. On the Free League website, because they are out of Sweden. Sweden? I believe Sweden, yes. The starter set will run you... it says $46.98, but on Amazon, it is actually a bit better than that, $39.99, so about $40 on Amazon. It's a little pricier than I would want, but the fact that it does include the dice, it does include the cards that are going to be very useful outside of the game. Honestly, I think it's a very reasonable price. You're going to get some good entertainment. You're going to be able to reuse a bunch of the stuff to be able to have the map, the tokens, the rulebook even, just as kind of like a quick reference, so that, obviously if you're going to buy the core rulebook, you can use this as kind of a supplemental rulebook. Again, no problems with any of that. So anyways, now that I'm rambling at this point, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, Alien, I'm excited to play it. So with that said, do give it a like on the video if you enjoyed this. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Hopefully I will be able to come back and do another review after we actually play the scenario and how does it actually, play in practice. But other than that, I do hope you enjoyed it. There will be a link down below to DriveThruRPG, where if you want to pick up a digital copy, you can get that. It is an affiliate link, so it does give a little bit of a kickback to the channel. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next time.